you are somebody who is wanting to change something about your life or your inner world, I want to talk to you, because most of my clients, most of my following is people who are much higher vibrational beings, in the sense also too that we often go to our heads. We're very good at escaping this three-dimensional reality. So it's easier for us to be visionaries and to have knowledge than it is to necessarily apply knowledge. So what I want to say is, if you are a brave enough person to actually look at yourself, look at your shadow, look at all of the aspects of you that are not pretty, in the beginning of the work, that's what has to happen in order for us to actually make room in the energy body for a three-dimensional existence of our higher self to come in. We have to kind of remove those mental and emotional blockages, so that what can then come in and fill us is actually our higher self, not these lower dimensional vibrations that we've picked up on and basically become addicted to and perpetuated throughout our lives. So when we clear them out, it's not easy, it's not pretty, it's actually pretty vile. Nobody really likes to do it. So I just want to say, if you're there, one, awesome for being brave enough to be there, because the other side of it is amazing. When you fill yourself with what you actually really are, it's amazing. But two, what I want to say that so many people miss in this process is that, guys, when we look in the mirror and we just like bounce back this reflection and go, okay, how do I change this? I work with so many people who cannot stand to sit with themselves for a split second and see, okay, this is the picture, right? This is what I'm being, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm choosing, this is the picture. They go, oh my God, that's the picture, how do I change it? Tell me what to do right now to change it. And the simplest thing for people who are often heady and not grounded to recognize in that exact dynamic where you're looking at something and going, nope, can't be me, I want to change it right now, because now that I see it, I can't sit with it for a split second. You have to sit with it. You have to sit with, that's who I've been, what I've been doing, how I've been being, and look at it for what it is. It's not going to hurt you. It doesn't mean that you're wrong or bad. It's not going to kill you. It might make you feel a whole bunch of things, but we cannot get into a place where we can actually physically change ourselves unless we are willing to actually look at ourselves and be with what we see, instead of going, no, I hate that, and project onto the mirror, basically, and bounce back onto ourselves. And there's never any actual work done because we're not actually seeing ourselves. So if you look at all of your patternings, when you uncover them and discover yourself through them, and you unveil yourself, basically, it's often very dirty. It's a very dirty process. But to look at it from a perspective of, if you were seeing yourself for the first time, if you had lived in the wilderness, you'd never seen another human being in your entire life, and you came across a pond and looked in your reflection, all you would want to do is play with that. You'd be like, what? Wow, what is this? This is what I live in. This is me. And there's no shame in being where you are. Okay? Everybody has collected different thought structures and embedded themselves deeply in them. And we've all gotten to a place where we are. There's no shame in where we are. But the only way you're going to get to change where you are, and I promise you that this is true, is if you're willing to sit for more than a split second with who you've been and why you've been that person and what your motivations for being that person have been. And ego death is a real thing. It feels like pieces of you are falling apart when you peel those layers back. And then all of a sudden, when that crutch of, that egoic crutch that we have falls, the only thing that can back us up is something that's much, much higher than us, that is actually literally us. And only those of us who are on the other side of that really understand that. And it's not so much, yes, it takes work. Like, the work takes work, but it's worth the work, okay? So to stay in a space of alignment once you're there, I know that a lot of people say, Stace, how do you keep it? And the truth is, I don't. I lose it very often, and every single time that I do, I go, okay, what's my practice right now? What is my practice? Because energy management is all this entire thing is. And to create in a three-dimensional reality, we have to utilize the energy of what we already know to be true, intuitively speaking, and pull it into a three-dimensional reality, but we can't do that with all of those blockages and layers. So I just want to say, if you look at those blockages and layers and your patterns, once you unveil them, if you're working with somebody, or if you're doing this work on your own, even self-healing is awesome. That's where it's really at. But as a practitioner, I say that because most of, I heal myself, but I also have people that I work with. But at the end of the day, you're the one doing your own healing. I'm a facilitator. My healers are facilitators. So, and this is also true with the spirit realm. The people who come to facilitate, they're not doing the healing for us. They're facilitating our opening while we are vulnerable enough to open. So that aside, sorry, there's my little rant about that. If you look at the energy body as if it's almost like a clear slate, and then you're going to have metallic type little balls as, your patterns that you don't necessarily like, or the things that you've been fixated upon, and you'll recognize that you can see a reflection in them. And that's what you're going to attract in other people too, that thing that's unhealed in yourself. So you can see yourself in their reflection also. And in the reflection of those particular wounds that you share together, or those particular vibrations of patternings that you share together. So when you actually take the time to look at it and be curious about it, like, oh, okay, I see that. That's in my reflection for a reason. And I'm just going to be curious and let it be what it is, not trying to change it for a second. That right there is that split second between being where you are, where you don't try to change it, and being where you are, where you try to change it. Right in between is where change happens. So you got to stay there. You can't change anything you won't accept. So you got to look at it for what it actually is, and instead of trying to immediately jump and go, oh my God, I got to change this. Just sit with it. Like, even if you have to sit with it, like, fuck. That's crazy that's been where I've been. Whatever that looks like to you. If you have to sit with it and be quiet for a week, whatever that looks like, but sit with it before you try to change it. Because if you try to change it from the place of having to change it, you're not actually creating change. You're creating a new distraction that inevitably you'll have to peel off again. So I hope this was helpful. Have a great day, guys.